So biggest news this weekend, where it was the massive protests in Mallorca, Spain. About I think like 30,000, 20,000 people marched against over tourism, mass tourism, demanding changes like limits to tourism, changes to the model of things, fair wages, and real estate speculation, no more gentrification, limits to the amount of tourists that come to their island and their entire destination. They were pretty big and massive, and they're just the latest. They did one earlier this year in June, the second one. This is bigger than the first one, and this just follows a bunch of protests that have been happening in Spain, like in the Canary Islands, Menorca, Barcelona, and all these protests. They have a common theme of just being against mass tourism. It's not just the number of people that are coming to these destinations, but it is the changes in the way of life. What people are rebelling against in all these destinations are the rise of short-term vacation rentals that are just taking up housing, making less available to locals. And then all these cruise ships, they're leaving people, causing overcrowding. Small businesses being replaced by chains, having being replaced by just these global places, and neighborhoods becoming more hollow and becoming less of actual filled locals, but more of tourists and people who are there only temporarily. What people are upset is how they're no longer a resident of their own city, and they're being priced out, pushed out. And I think there's an overall problem here. I think Europe in general is becoming Disneyland, and in a way, it's becoming fake, a theme park, a place for exploration for foreigners. People go to these places for their beaches, their old historical history, their artifacts, their museums, architecture. This is old Europe, and people, Spain, France, everywhere they go, and they're spending money and time, and they're treating it as if it's a sightseeing, because Europe is becoming more dependent on tourism as we speak right now, economically, much more, and American dollars, foreign dollars, right? Europe is no longer as dynamic as it used to be, so it's staling and becoming, I think, just a tourist attraction. That's gonna become their biggest source of revenue and support. So they're becoming just a place for people to have fun, like Disneyland. In the Disneyland, and I mean in the negative way, in terms of just being fake, unreal. No longer it's a recreation, right? And I think people are afraid of losing their identity, and that's more of an existential problem of this over tourism issues, an existential crisis people are rebelling against in Spain, in Amsterdam, in Venice. People don't want to become a service worker to a Disneyland visitor. This is what people are fighting against in these over tourism hotspots.